I watched the press conference live. I thought they just cut the feed halfway through the question because I was typing and I was listening. It's like, why are they playing music? Why is it over? And then I realized Mike Tomlin had walked off before the question could even be finished. You have 1 year left on your contract. That's the preface. Here comes the question. He turns and he leaves. I don't know what it means. Nobody knows what it means. But I know this. I know a certain someone on ESPN said last night the same thing I said Saturday at halftime of the Browns-Texans game and gave me full credit. Oh, wait, he didn't give me any credit for it, but that's fine. I'm not worried about that unless I am. Mike Tomlin is going to, as he does every year, he's going to reassess his situation. And every other year, he's never been entering the final year of his contract. That's what makes this unique. He's going to talk to his family, and he's going to make a decision. Doesn't mean he's leaving. Doesn't mean 100% he's staying. The different factor this time is he's 1 year away from the expiration of his contract. And the one thing he could do, and I'm not saying will, I'm saying it's one of his options. One of the options would be to say, I got 1 more year, I'm going to honor my contract, and then I'm going to become a free agent with no salary cap, with no franchise tag, and with plenty of teams out there who will know all year long, I'm going to become a free agent. Because one thing we know about the Steelers, once the season starts, they've got this stupid rule, all due respect, but it's stupid to make these rules that no one else has and no one else follows. We don't renegotiate any contracts once the season starts. People are capable of doing multiple things, but they had this rule forever. It's been like that forever. We're not going to change it. We get to the start of the season and Mike Tomlin doesn't have a new contract. The message to everyone is he's in play for next year. He could choose that path. That would make for a crazy early 2025 as everyone's scrambling to try to get Mike Tomlin.
No, it would be incredible. You're right. Crazy. Totally. Right? I would think he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that, and deal with that distraction and those kind of questions always throughout the season, let alone I think the message to your locker room's not always the best when you're put in that situation. Right, hey, oh, you messed up the play. Oh, well, no big deal. I'm not going to be here next year or whatever. So that's where coaches don't like being on that last year of their contract. That's where it is odd. I don't know how to take that either there with Mike Tomlin. I look at Mike Tomlin, I think he's he's a competitor. He's pissed off, sorry, London, that they didn't win that football game. He's probably a little bothered that there isn't an extension in place already. But like Sirianni, he's too hurt emotionally about the moment, his own team, his own organization, that he doesn't even want to talk about that. That's kind of how I would take it, right? I think he's just disgusted. But I'm sure there's some other feelings.
You could
underneath.
At least let the reporter finish the question.
Yeah,
before you walk off.
I hear you.
Or say, I have no comment about that.
Right.
Or say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm coaching this team as long as they'll have me. I'll stay here as long as they'll have me. I mean, by walking off just after the first few words of the question, the message is sent that if next year he is in his final year of his contract by his own choosing, because as we reported on December 23rd, the day of the Bengals-Steelers game on NBC, the Steelers aren't firing him, obviously. They had lost 3 in a row at the point, and who knew what was going on, but they're not going to fire him. They're going to try to extend the contract. So if we get to next year and they haven't extended the contract, the message he's sending to the people who cover the team is, anytime you bring that up, I'm just going to walk away. I did it the first time. I'll do it the second time. I'll do it the third time. The press conference ends when someone musters the nerve to ask me about my contract. And it almost didn't happen. This is one of the things that I love about the press conference mentality. Everybody in the room knows about the awkward, tough question that someone needs to ask. But I'm not going to ask it. You ask it. Well, I'm not going to ask it. It's like Life Cereal. Let's get Mikey. He'll ask it. There's no Mikey in the room sometimes. And eventually it was Brooke Pryor of ESPN who decided to dare to tiptoe down the hallway to the great and powerful Wizard of Oz, and you saw what happened. Out he goes. That's one of the ways that the Patriots beat reporters dealt with Bill Belichick. They knew there were certain questions that he wasn't necessarily going to walk away, but he was just going to shut down after that and give you nothing. He'll still answer your questions, but it'll just be grunts and burps and not that he ever burped that I know of, but you know what I mean, just a monosyllabic nothing. So I think Tomlin is letting everyone know now If you ever ask about my contract, I'm just leaving. So don't ask.
Yeah, I think so. And he frustrated in the moment, certainly. He probably looks at it a little bit like, what you're saying too. Man, we had some self-inflicted wounds there where we could have made things interesting and tough on Buffalo here. We kind of let them, get out of here scot-free. And that's sure all that bothered him, certainly. But, yeah, we've never seen him act like that. I've never seen him do that, where he's usually –
And he answered questions normally before that.
He usually looks people in the eye and goes through it. Yeah, I know. So it's rare to see him act that way, but obviously it hit a boiling point, and he doesn't want to dive into that right now. So we'll see. I would think he'd answer some of those questions today or tomorrow whenever he addresses the Pittsburgh media, and we'll hear more about it. I wouldn't be shocked to hear him apologize too.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if you ask about the contract, he's going to exit stage left.
Maybe.
I really do. The message is don't do it. I think the next time around, it's going to be the same thing. Everyone's going to think, boy, the one question we need to ask is, Mike, why did you walk off the podium when the question about your contract came up last night? And they're going to be looking around. I'm not going to ask it. You ask it. I'm not going to ask it. Let's get Mikey. He'll ask it. All right. Cam Hayward.
Yeah.
Was asked a question about Mike Tomlin. Here's what he said about Tomlin. Every player wouldn't be anything without Mike T. This group would not function to even get to a playoff berth without Mike T. He keeps us accountable from top to bottom, and I don't want to play for any other coach. That's Cam Hayward. And I don't know if Cam Hayward is going to continue for another year, but it'll surely be a factor if Mike Tomlin's there or not there. But it's not a Steelers decision. It's Tomlin. Is he ready to walk away? Is he going to sign a new contract? Is he going to become a free agent, finish out his contract, and then go wherever he wants? Or would he leave now? See, he could leave now and just sit back and wait to see what a new team might offer the Steelers. The problem with that approach, though, is you go to a new team with less assets to be the best team you can be. Hey, I'm going to coach the Commanders. I'm going to coach whoever. Oh, we gave up our first-round pick this year and next year so they could get me. Well, that stinks. I don't have a first-round pick the next 2 years. If you're going to jump to a new team, the better approach is just finish your contract and become a free agent.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Or get Robert Kraft to let you walk away like he did with Bill Belichick.
Right. What should say? Maybe Mike Tomlin, he might be able to do that. He might have a good enough relationship with Art Rooney and the Rooney family. But we'll see where this goes. I in my heart of hearts, still think Mike Tomlin's going to be with the Steelers, and he's motivated by wanting to bring another championship, wanting to make another playoff run deep into the playoffs with this Steelers football team. And, most people go, oh, well, I mean, it's just he gets to the playoffs and it's one and done. But, okay, other than the offensive coordinator issue, which, okay, we can blame on him, definitely. I got you there. But everything else is I want to go, wait, it's working against Mike Tomlin, and it's working good because of how good he is as a football coach. So yeah, we can blame offensive coordinator on him, but everything else, and a team that I want to sit here and go, wait, guys, this team is not an all-star team. Why does everybody expect them to be so good? What is it? It's an offensive line that finally came together kind of in the halfway point of the year, maybe week 10. And, yeah, there's some guys there and some young guys that you go, hey, the future, they could be pretty good. The receivers, we know, okay, there's potential there, and that falls into the offensive thing. But, defensively, you've heard me say during the year, what on their defenses makes us think that they're supposed to be a top-notch defense? The good defenses in football, we can list a laundry list of good players they have. With the Steelers, it's like T.J. Watt, Hayward, Minka Fitzpatrick. That's not great defensive football team there. So Terrell Austin, the D coordinator, I mean, they've made chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what there. That's where I just want to go to the Pittsburgh fans sometimes. How good did you think you guys were? You got below average quarterback play. You drafted a guy that I'm not sure is the franchise guy. That's not Mike Tomlin's fault. I know he has a little say in that, but he's not the GM. And then the rest of the players on the field are not, I don't look at them, and I don't think you do either, and we go, well, they underperformed. They're really an AFC championship team. We looked at it and went, I don't really think they're a playoff team, but with Mike Tomlin magic, they might be. And that to me means you keep the damn head coach and he's kind of special.
It's exactly what the Eagles were missing.
Right.
Accountability.
Right.
The ability to take whatever the team is and get more out of it.
Yes.
And Bill Belichick does it with X's and O's and game planning and detail and 24 hours a day
outside the box
thinking
and whatever. Yeah. Right.
Mike Tomlin does it, not exclusively, but his superpower is to get through
leading
to
man.
Each guy.
Right.
To just suck it up and overperform.
Right. Get the most out
whatever
of
their
them.
body would otherwise allow them to do. Tomlin gets them to do that and a little bit more, and to come together as a team, to function as a team. He is a leader. He is a natural-born leader, and he is the quintessential football coach. Forget about the X's and O's. He is a guy who can get his men ready to play, and they love him for it. They're loyal to him. They're not going to want him to leave. It's going to be a huge void if he would decide to walk away. And nobody knows what he's going to do. That's the key. He does it every year. He reassesses his situation. This year is different because the Steelers have allowed him to approach what would be the final year of his contract. This is a factor he's never had to consider before. I have options here. One of the options is I'll coach out my contract and I'll become a free agent. But along the way, he's never going to show. And see, this is why what we reported back in December, the Steelers aren't going to move on from him, and they had no reason to believe he was thinking about leaving because he's all in. He's not going to entertain any of those thoughts during football season. This is an after football season topic that he's going to pivot to, and then we'll see what he decides to do.
Yeah.
But just real quickly on the game, look, the Steelers were overmatched from the get-go. George Pickens was frustrated, this time more or as much with the officials as anything else. He got 11 targets, 5 catches, 50 yards. He lost a fumble. It was kind of a Dez Cottet play. That was my first thought. It looked a lot like the Dez Bryant football move and lunge, and out comes the ball. But it just, I didn't expect the Steelers to win. I was amazed they made it a game once they were down 21-0. But they reached the limit of what their talent was ever going to let them do this year.
Yeah, that's right. They were maximized, right? And they were a team that I think we knew they couldn't make mistakes and win the football game. They had to hope Buffalo made a mistake or two to win the football game. That was the difference there, right? And yeah, I mean the Pickens fumble early on in the football game, right after the Bills have just gone down and scored a touchdown. Put them in a spot where, damn, we're down 14-0, and we wanted to make this game an ugly ball control, keep Josh Allen off the field type of football game, and that luxury or ability was taken away from them after that. So they did, like you said, they hung in there, right, and started to move the ball at the end of the first half. Right, they were a little too conservative early on. I mean, it was like, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the half, and they finally threw a ball past 5 yards. I think it was when they hit the Freiermuth big crosser, and he fumbled, and it looked like the Bills covered it in bounds, and they said it was out of bounds. That was a weird one. Yeah. But either way, that was the first moment we saw Pittsburgh's offense come alive. And then you start, here it is. And then you thought, wait, Pittsburgh, man, they're going to hang around. It looks like they have figured something out a little bit about how Buffalo played them. They came out in the third quarter. They made a few plays. I started to go, ooh, they're pushing Buffalo's defense line back a little bit here. Is this going to start to sway in Pittsburgh's favor? But the Bills had an answer every time, and I don't know, Mike, this was a weird one. To me, it didn't look like it grazed his helmet or anything. But either way, they stayed with the call on the field. But yeah, Bills weathered that storm, and Pittsburgh just didn't have enough firepower to do anything after that.
And, the Steelers would have had a much better chance if they had played the game a day earlier in the elements. The only problem is we wouldn't have been able to show you any highlights because you wouldn't be able to see the highlights through the snow. Would we have even known who had won the game? How would we know? How would they know to put the scoreboard from 0-0 to 6-0? No one would have seen anything. So crazy couple of days, 6 playoff games done. When we return, we're going to pivot to one of the teams that didn't make it to the playoffs and one of the coaches who didn't make it to the playoffs. And if there was any doubt about Bill Belichick's intent moving forward, there should be none now. He has interviewed for a head coaching job. We'll discuss that next here on PFT Live. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.